All right. Good morning, day, afternoon, evening, wherever you may happen to be watching this at. My name is Erin Crane, one of the co-founders of the the Exposing Scum Landlords, and my partner is Andrea. There, off camera today, but she's still going to be helping react to some nasty, I guess you could just call them memes, on how landlords can keep rent deposits or safety deposits guaranteed ways. So quickly, exposing Scum Landlords project is a project that started here in Ontario by myself and Andrea. It is dedicated to telling stories of tenants who are victims of poor, bad, scum rent seekers. We will be using the term rent seeker in our videos, as we feel that the term landlord or lord of the land gives rent seekers too much power. It's also a holdover from the feudal system, which is the only thing left of the feudal system. So, what we're going to be doing today is unscripted reacts. So there's going to be a lot of uhs and ums, and hopefully passing on some information this about stuff that landlords cannot do in Ontario. So many of the so the memes here are not necessarily specific to Ontario, because Ontario, under the Residential Tenancies Act in Ontario, you are not allowed as a rent seeker to charge any deposits with the exemption of last month's rent. So you cannot charge safety deposits, security. There is one other one that I will talk about. Cleaning, repairing deposits, anything like that. The only other one that you're allowed to charge as a rent seeker in Ontario for deposits is a key deposit, which includes keys, fobs, cards, and other point of access things that you would use to access. And that can only be the equivalent of the replacement of that device. So a key that costs $5, they can't charge you a $100 deposit. Fobs and cards can run fairly expensive. Last time I was in an apartment that had fobs, it was a $75 charge. And they cannot charge you deposit on the actual device itself. Okay, so let's go into the first one here. Okay, so this is by a group called Landlord Alliance. So it must be some kind of Landlord Alliance of landlords, group of landlords that came up with this. So shelf awareness. Leverage the damaged deposit straight into your checking account without the tenant even knowing. Enter the tenant's unit when they are home and proceed to their wall shelves. Remove all but one screw at each point of the support. Loosen the remaining support screws. Leave the premises. Eventually, the shelf will fall and cause damage to the wall, granting you your rightful damage deposit. Take items you are confident won't be noticed by the tenant for resale. Okay. I'm hoping that this is a gag meme for landlords, because this is disgusting. Okay, we're going to go over each point. So leverage the damage deposit straight into your checking account without the tenant ever knowing. Yes, they will, because they won't get their deposit back. Enter the tenant's unit when they're not home and proceed to their wall shelves. That is illegal. Unless you've given 24 hours notice, you cannot enter. A rent seeker cannot enter your unit ever unless there's a specific reason. It's an emergency, and if you find out that they do this without your knowledge, you can file with the landlord tenant board too, for up to $1,000 for every illegal entry. Loosen the remaining support screws. That's just an instruction. Leave the premises eventually. The shelf will fall and cause damage to the wall. Yeah, it will. And unfortunately, the tenants will probably think it is their fault, granting you your rightful damage deposit. You do not have the right to a deposit at all. If a tenant follows the rules and everything's kept in livable condition, that deposit is not yours. It never was. Now, take items you are confident won't be noticed by the tenant. That's theft. That's straight out theft. So, a couple things you can see here. The landlord has land Chad on his back. That's apparently a descriptor that landlords are using to call themselves to feel very, very, very important. Other than that, like, this pisses me off so much. This really pisses me off. There's nothing funny about these. So, theft. You can file directly with the police and file a theft report. And they will be charged. So other things that I would do is if you feel comfortable and you don't trust your rent seeker, not to do something like this, install surveillance cameras, security cameras in places that you think they might pull some crap like this, or even post it at your front door, not outside your unit, inside at the door, to record them coming and going. Because if you record them coming and going, you got proof that they're entering your apartment illegally. And again, that can be up to $1,000 per illegal entry for you, plus fines for them. So they're paying twice. Well, they're technically paying 3 times, because they're paying for the fines, what you're entitled to, and your filing costs and legal costs. But let's go to this one. Okay, so another keep your security deposit with one simple trick, Landlord Alliance post. We've seen the annoying tenants who fix up their unit in order to get their deposit back. Duh. With this simple shoe modification, you can defeat the rentoid. I will explain that in a minute. And keep your hard-earned money. All you need is a pair of shoes, a nail, and a spring. It's that easy. When inspecting the tenant's unit as they are moving out, apply pressure to the nail and drag it across the floor, scratching it up under their nose. When you are done, release the pressure and the nail will retract at the end of the inspection. Notice the scratches and inform them that you're keeping the deposit. This is illegal. This is beyond illegal. Since the tenant's moving out, it's still technically in their possession, which would make that willful damage by the landlord to a tenant's unit, as well as, so try it and you're going to go to the LTB. Again, this is from the Landlord Alliance. So you're going to ruin a pair of shoes just to keep a rent deposit. Editing Erin here. I just realized I forgot something there in that segment there on the scuffing the floors. The probably the cost of repairing the floors is going to cost more than the damage deposit is worth. So they're basically going to be ruining their own floors to pay for repairs, or they might not, depending on how scummy and shitty they are. They might just leave it scuffed up for the next tenant. But yeah, again, it's still just making me crazy editing and seeing these images again. All right, back to the main video. Yeah, and how and tenants fix up the place to get. Of course they do. Of course they do. Okay. So yeah, I'm just flabbergasted by this group. I really hope it's a troll. I really hope this is a troll, because anyone trying to do this will get in a lot of trouble. It's the stuff like this, I would probably say anywhere would get you in a lot of trouble. Oh, yeah, rentoids. Rentoid is a derogatory term that rent seekers are using for tenants. Yeah, I have been on a couple of pro landlord groups on Reddit, and they use rentoid, rent pig. They never use tenant. They never use renter. They hate tenants. It's if you hate tenants, why are you a rent seeker? Why are you making your money as a rent seeker? It's stupid. Your rentoids bugging you, bug them back. This is basically an instruction on how to bed bug a tenant's apartment. Is there a tenant you'd love to be rid of who simply refuses to leave? With the simple trick, you can get rid of them within 2 weeks. All you need is to bite back is access to a homeless encampment. If you're living in a hot rental market, chances are there are many such camps in your jurisdiction. Simply enter the homeless encampment, find a personal effect belonging to one of the residents, such as a blanket, sleeping bag, or jacket. The police will not consider this theft if you're caught. Inform them you're cleaning up littering. Wrong. Okay, again, let's go through this crap. It is the landlord's responsibility to deal with pests, be it bugs, vermin, or anything. It's that simple here in Ontario. Go ahead and bed bug somebody's apartment. You're going to pay for it yourself. And they're not going to move out. They're not going to be evicted. You're going to be paying for it. So the simple implication that every homeless person living in a homeless encampment has bed bugs is disgusting. As a disgusting thought. No, they don't. Many of them are there not by choice, especially right now. Find a personal belonging of one of the residents and steal it. Again, stealing. That's stealing. The police will charge you with theft. You can't go in and just, even if they're living there, which, yes, technically they're not supposed to be right now. There are many encampments in many cities because of COVID evictions. And the police have made the promise not to evict people from Parkland who are living in tent encampments. You will be charged. You just will be charged. There's no No, I need to put it. Don't do it. Okay, shelf. Okay, now onto these ones here. These are really disgusting because they're co-opting movements such as Black Lives Matter and queer rights, trans rights, and stuff like that. Diversity, inclusion, and equality, which diversity of income sources that you can so you can pay your rent, inclusion of a tip with your rent check, equality in my real estate investment lets me retire. So the first two are aimed at tenants, the third one is aimed at rent seekers. So it's basically saying work several jobs to pay your rent. Rent is unaffordable on a single income, which for most people it is. Inclusion of a tip with your rent check. That's right. Rent seekers are now expecting to be tipped for renting to you, for taking your money for a place to live, and when you leave and when you stop paying rent or move out, you have nothing. They have equity and they still have the home, but you have sweet F all. And again, equality in my real estate investments lets me require equity. Again, yeah, you can have a unit or property, a house or whatever sit empty, and landlords can still make money on it, which is why they are. And we'll go into that in another video as well as to why that is happening. So they can retire young. You can work till you die on the factory floor. And here's another one of the right wing memes. Sort of, we support LGBT. What is it? Something guns, something Trump. Liberty guns, something Trump. I can't remember what the beast. But landlords, and yes, that picture right there of that supposed landlords is how they see themselves. Every picture that a landlord posts with a landlord meme and with a landlord in it, they always look like that. Gamers, oh, look, it's Joaquin Phoenix's Joker. Billionaires, there's Jeff Bezos, the richest man in the world. So, of course, they support him because they think they're going to be him someday. Thatcher, I think this is taken from a UK meme site. Margaret Thatcher was the Prime Minister of England in the 80s. She was known as the Iron Lady. She was a very conservative, right-wing leader. Queen, I don't know why Freddie Mercury is on there. I don't know if he would agree with this since he was bisexual and co-opting the queer alphabet. Indonesia, no idea why. I think it's because they're a pretty totalitarian state. Anime sexuals, why? Anime sexual is not a thing. And the Swiss, because, of course, the Swiss. And then the same thing here, just in a different gamer font. And I think that's it. So, yeah. So that's just a quick introduction to how we're going to roll. It's not going to be this low energy all the time. we are going to be introducing tenant stories with actual tenants telling their story. We'll be doing more React stuff to actual memes, letters landlords send out. And for those living in Ontario, we will be going over your tenants' rights under the Residential Tenancies Act, which is the act governing, obviously, residential tenancies in Ontario. We will be going over how to fill out a rental application, what's needed, what's required, what's not, what's legal to ask, what's illegal to ask, the standard lease, Ontario lease, clauses in there that could be illegal when added. And then we're going to also be doing some open town halls and slideshow presentations about tenants' rights. We are not going to, we will deal with landlord rights as it applies to tenants. Forms for the LTB, both landlord and tenant notices, as well as forms for hearings. Note that this in no way is a supports landlordship. In fact, my personal feeling is landlordship should have died a very long time ago when everything else in the feudal system died. I think landlords take away from housing. They do not provide anything that a landowner who lives on that land could not do themselves. And they're taking away, like I said, they're taking away homes from people. We have an overabundance of residential units in Ontario. We could be housing everyone. But because rent seeking is a thing, and people are monetizing a basic human right, we have people who are homeless. Anyway, I think we're going to end it there. Sorry, this is such a low energy one. I'm just trying to keep my rage in check. Okay. Until next time, rent is not due, and we will see everyone on the next video.